What's up, people? I'm Wale Ogunleye, head of sports and entertainment at UBS. But before that, I spent 11 years in the NFL tackling quarterbacks. Today, I have the privilege of helping hundreds of athletes and entertainers grow their businesses and investment portfolios. Welcome to Level Up, where we explore different financial literacy topics to equip you with the knowledge you need to be financially fit. Let's get started. On today's episode of Level Up, we're going to talk about the why. Why does financial literacy even matter?
I first started learning about financial literacy when I was about 21 years old. When I started doing my credit, I had to learn about it. So I would say that's when I started to learn about financial literacy.
On the first episode of Level Up, The Why, we are honored to be joined by AJ Andrews, who will educate us on why financial literacy matters.
AJ Andrews plays Superwoman out in right field.
AJ Andrews is a professional American softball player. She is also the first woman to receive the Rawlings Gold Glove Award.
AJ, when did you first start learning about financial literacy?
The very first time I really started to learn more about financial literacy was, I'm not gonna go lie to you, it was this year when I did my taxes for the first time on my own. And I've been doing my taxes, don't get it twisted, but you know, my dad's been doing it for me most of my life. I haven't made big money to where I needed somebody to really dive into my taxes more until really about a year and a half ago.
I started to learn about finances crazy enough towards the end of my NFL career. It's at that moment I realized I didn't know anything of what my financial advisors were telling me, and I put it upon myself to go educate myself so I could understand what financial advisors were saying.
And you know, being a professional softball player, while it sounds nice, it sounds fancy, right? We don't make the big bucks the way the MLB players make. It took me, I don't know, 20 minutes to sit down and watch my dad do my taxes. And today it was a process. I mean, hours, and it took a while to get those done. And then I looked back how much I owed in taxes and had a quick little heart attack and quickly learned that thankfully I had the money to pay back the grand amount that I owed in taxes. But I just thought in that moment, what if I didn't have that kind of money sitting in my bank account?
To dig a little deeper, let's hear from one of our advisors at UBS, Ronnie Brown.
Ronnie Brown, former professional athlete, current financial advisor with UBS. You know, financial literacy matters to me because, one, you go to college, everyone's goal is to make as much money as you can. And so, you know, you should want to know what happens with that money and how to be financially responsible with it. So I think financial literacy is really important. Every few years, the financial industry regulatory authority, FINRA as we know it, issues a short financial literacy test as a part of its National Financial Capability Study, which measures consumers' knowledge about general financial principles. On its most recent test, based on 5 questions asked between 2009 and 2018, only 34% of those who took the test got 4 or more questions correct, which suggests that the basic economic and financial principles that underpin these problems are widespread. For example, financial literacy includes understanding how checking account works, what using a credit card really means, and how to avoid debt. Between 2017 and 2019, for example, credit card usage increased from 2% to 24% of all payments. More and more people are depending on credit cards. But do these people know exactly how to properly use them without landing themselves in debt?
AJ, why does financial literacy matter to you?
I think financial literacy matters because everyone needs to be in charge of their own money and understanding where it's going and how to make more of that. Unfortunately, while I don't feel like money brings you happiness, it sure does help, okay? And we all want as much money as we want or need to maintain a life, to be sustainable, but also to have free time and have fun. And so in order to have your financial literacy there, you also need to be able to understand what it is that it can do for you.
Whether I know to buy or to lease, whether I'm going to have good credit scores, what's going to make sure that I don't pay more money on products because my credit is bad, or if I want to make sure that I leave enough money for my kids so they can have a legacy to live through.
And so I began to become literate in finances, even though I didn't have a lot, understanding how it was I could save it, how it is I could spread it, How is I can make a little go a long way? And so if I could take that little bit, continue to add every single day until it grows into something huge. So I think financial literacy for everybody is an opportunity to understand how you can make a little amount of money go a long way till you get that big amount of money, and then just gets bigger and bigger.
So financial literacy is important to me because, I use it in my daily life. For example, I like to budget and to make sure I have enough money. For example, if my friends want to go out, I need to make sure I have enough money in my budget to do those things. And to also, I like to shop, so I need to make sure I have enough money in my budget to get the things that I want whenever I want to get it.
Here are a few of the financial mistakes people make throughout their life. One is avoid excessive and frivolous spending. For example, for just $25 per week you spend on dining out or at Starbucks, you would end up spending $1,300 per year. Every little payment adds up and can help keep you away from financial hardships. The other is living on borrowed money. While credit cards are the new norm, it's not financially wise to depend on them. By paying sometimes double-digit interest rates, consumers end up paying much more than the original cost. This is certainly an avoidable expense. Also, another one to note, living paycheck to paycheck. The average household has 9.4% savings rate, and 34% of Americans have none to save at all. Someone should set aside cash in an emergency fund that they can access easily to cover roughly about 6 months worth of expenses. You should always be prepared in case of economic disaster. Example, the pandemic that we just dealt with. Not having a plan is another. Your financial future depends on what is going on right now. Setting aside 2 hours a week to discuss your finances and make a plan should be a priority. It's critical to know where your money is going and be intentional with it in order to be financially literate.
My favorite part of the show. Let's head to the street for the question of the day.
Wale, how does financial literacy impact me in the future?
Financial literacy is important, not only because it provides a foundation for informed financial decision making, but because financial responsibility is increasing. In the past, employers would manage employees' retirement accounts. But today, we're seeing the individual assume more of this responsibility via self-directed retirement accounts. In addition, the scope of financial products has broadened, and credit is more widely accessible, placing more choices in the hands of consumers. On today's episode, we discuss financial literacy. And whether you're a professional athlete or not, I hope you're able to take something away that you can use in your day-to-day lives when it comes to understanding your finances. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next episode.